Hello, YouTube. What is going on? It's your boy GZTV back with another video, and here we are talking about Ozark again. We've been talking about Ozark pretty much the entire weekend. We're going to be covering the season 2 finale tomorrow. Let's get into it. I mean, there's nothing personal here with this episode, is there? Man, I'm telling you, I'm sorry about the fucking cricket in the background. You're just going to have to hear it in the video. It's fine. I don't want to kill bugs. I don't really like doing that, but, I mean, that's more like it. I mean, this episode, after a pretty clunky episode last time around, we get a tightly edited chapter of Ozark that definitely contracts the difficult marriages of the Snells and the Birds and how family ties can choke us to death. Quite literally. I mean, he didn't really choke. You can see the picture there. Both Marty Bird and Jacob Snell used the same word when admonishing their wives this episode. Undermine. Their wives like to undermine them when they're making decisions because they don't think they're manly enough or something. I don't know. Both relationships are collapsing under the weight of bad decisions and recent disagreements. When you put a couple in conflict, most likely it's not going to end well for them unless they're like a super healthy couple or they like agree with each other the entire way. So, yeah. And the episode ends with the death of Jacob Snell, murdered by his wife before he could do the same to her because, what the fuck? The Celtics just traded? Alright, well, I'll look at that after this video. I gotta focus here. Jacob was about to take her out to the woods and kill her. I'm pretty sure that's what he was planning to do because she was interrupting so many things. And with Jacob dying and not Darlene, I'm not really sure what that means for the show. It's going to be really interesting. I've never really thought about that. The fact that Darlene is still alive, she's going to cause some hell, I think. Is this foreshadowing even possibly seasons down the line of what will happen to the Birds? Will one of them kill the other? I'm not really sure. I think that'd be something the show could look into. It can't be too soon, though. I feel like they have to time that right to make that a good storyline. So by that time, children Jonah and Charlotte may be long gone. I mean, look what Charlotte's trying to do right now. Look at the recent developments. Charlotte dropped a bomb at the end of the last episode, telling her parents that she wanted out of the Bird family. She didn't want to be a part of this little business they have going on anymore. She doesn't want to be considered a criminal or a part of a criminal family anymore. She's done with it. She was going to file for emancipation to leave this criminal enterprise behind. Marty and Wendy respond to this news in very different ways. This says a lot about how they handle crisis, and it's nice to see like this distinction between these two characters. Marty seems sad, asking his daughter to trust that he can fix the situation. Wendy gets angry, threatening Charlotte's attorney and raising her voice at her family. Like, she damn near doesn't give a fuck at this point. Like, if you want to leave, fine. You're not a part of our family. That's cool with me. She tries to be political and then she lashes out, of course. Wendy obviously having that political past. Meanwhile, Marty operates stealthily, asking for trust, the most important commodity to him. Is it too late to get back the trust of his daughter? I don't know. I mean, they've lied to her so many times. You can't really blame her for how she's reacted to things. It's definitely too late for the trust between Jacob and Darlene Snell to return. That marriage is beyond repair. My goodness, they have been in such a turmoil this entire time. First it's somewhat shocking that they made it out of that barrage of gunfire at the end of last episode with one bullet through the shoulder. But okay, it's TV, you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, the writers can kind of have their imagination and roll with it. I'm fine with that. But while he's recovering from his miraculous single bullet, Darlene tries to play hardball with the cartel again, shutting down access to the casino construction. She's not going for this. She's like, no, you're not fucking doing this. I don't want you to do this. Our family's already been flooded out. We don't want to do this to the Snell's reputation. We want to uphold something here. Before it's even really better, Jacob goes to meet with Marty and Pierce. He's like, yeah, I don't know. He learns that he does not have much leverage here. I mean, they think they do. The Snells think they're superior in every fucking situation that they're in. They're super egotistical people, but they don't. Not only does he not really own the property, when he flooded the land, it became part of the Mississippi River, making it federal, but they will box him in however they can, building up every inch of land around them. They're going to use this flooded water to access their land and build shit, pretty much, without him knowing. I mean, that's illegal in itself, but if they can sneak construction, make a building, and get the government's permission, I mean, the fact that you're even on their land, building shit is telling the government, hey, these people are allowed to be here, they're allowed to build, so yeah, the Snells could try to make a case, but the water is owned by the government, so it's accessible by anybody, Jacob knows they have no move but to play along. All he asks is for a promise for no more violence. We can't be killing people. We gotta have a truce here because things are falling apart around us. Rachel almost died. Well, obviously Buddy died. He's not a super important character per se to the whole operation. He could have been if they gave him more shine, but it is what it is. And yet he brings that violence home. It raises the question, when did Jacob decide to kill Darlene? Because, I mean, honestly, I don't really blame him. I would want to kill her too. She's a fucking psychopath. And did she show him? And did she know he was planning to do so and simply acted first? On an otherwise beautiful morning, they walk their land for the last time before construction begins, Jacob with a knife in his sleeve. And now we're starting to realize, yeah, he's going to kill this bitch because she's fucking psychotic. He marches towards her, they stare in each other's eyes, and then he collapses. She reveals that she poisoned him before they left the house and that the cyanide should act quickly. He should have a nice, peaceful death at least. She wasn't going to brutally murder him like Jacob did to her, We watched the life go out of Jacob's eyes. I mean, it really reminds you of like the Walter White scene. Again, I compare this show to Breaking Bad all the time, but when he was dying in the final episode, kind of reminds you of that. Does this mean Darlene will stop construction again? What could possibly be her plan? Does she have one? I don't know. I think Jacob dying was honestly a really cool move by the show to do, because I think it's going to be so crazy to see what Darlene does here on herself, by herself, not influenced by any other people's decisions but herself. Her husband was really her only person she was going to listen to, and now she's on her own. Pierce, Marty, even Cosgrove are just going to kill her at this point. I mean, that's what you think, but like, we'll have to see how she can deal with that. Hell, maybe Ruth will take her out. I don't know. Maybe Marty will hire her and she goes and kills her. But, so speaking of Cosgrove, things are about to get tense with the Kansas City mob. Before the final story needed to get the casino approved, Charlie Wilkes tells Wendy that the chairman of the board will ask for a favor that they simply must grant if they want this casino to be built. How very Corleone of them. Well, the favor turns out to be a big one. The casino project can't be a union job. You can't have other associations, you can't have other mobs running through here, getting pay and leaving. So you pretty much can't launder money, is what they're saying, and you can't work with other organizations. So now Marty has to find a way to get Cosgrove and his teams off the project. I mean, that surely won't be easy. There's no mob that'll ever budge for some sort of situation like this. If that wasn't enough to worry about, Marty has to figure out a way to keep his family together. It looks like he's planning to run again, this time to Arkansas. Will next season be called Little Rock and not Ozark? He goes to Ruth Langmore and asks her to take over the business the day the casino gets started. Like, he's got to get the fuck out of here. They're going to run. The cartel will need Ruth. It will keep her alive. It'll get her a living. The Langmores could finally probably prosper and get money with this cartel and be business partners for the rest of their fucking lives. Which would be amazing, like, for the Langmores, of course. The problem with this plan is one Cade Langmore, who is a weight around Ruth's ankle, pretty much dragging her down. It's like a little kid holding onto your ankles and hugging your legs when you're trying to walk. Not only does he rob lickety-splits in the middle of the day, but he is dragging Wyatt, who just got into the University of Missouri, down with him. The dude literally just got an acceptance letter to Mizzou, and now you're trying to fuck this kid's life up by getting him involved with your little crime, all for $5,000. I mean, $5,000 is a really big amount of money for the Langmores, but really, to rob a strip club? Ruth pulls a shotgun on him, demanding he give the money back and leave Wyatt alone. It raises a few questions now that the season is coming to an end. Ozark doesn't always hold up under scrutiny, and that's kind of the case here in that Cade is doing something illegal pretty much every single day. I mean, this guy can't handle himself. He's a walking felony, really. He's a walking felony charge on this show. Wouldn't it be incredibly easy to send him back to jail? Call his parole officer, show him the video from Lickety, show him the boat parts, tell him about the funeral home. This guy has committed a crime every fucking day. Cade is a walking garbage fire, and it feels like Ruth's best course of action would be to just get him back behind bars for as long as possible. Bring up every fucking charge, stack them up against his name. Or kill him, that would work too. But it's time for Cade to go. He's been something of a dramatic weight on this season, never becoming a truly interesting character, and being kind of a nuisance, being kind of annoying to this show. She doesn't kill him or snitch on him in time, which gives Cade the chance to get to Agent Petty just before he appears to be leaving the Ozarks forever to take care of his mom. This is clearly meant as a cliffhanger, but what does Cade really know outside of his suspicion about what Ruth did to his brothers? He's a moron, and watching him team with Petty could lead to total disaster for both of them. Actually, I mean, that might be a little fun. You know, garbage fires can be fun in shows sometimes. There's an interesting parallel between two young women trying to leave their poisonous parents and Ruth Langmore and Charlotte Bird. So that's an interesting little comparison. Wyatt has pointed out how much these two families handle things differently, and that's true again this episode. Ruth pulls a shotgun on her dad, Charlotte pulls an attorney. Will either escape their criminal families before it's too late? A lot of interesting things kind of being held in the air for the season finale of this show. Ozark's been fantastic. I think they've handled the show great. Very enjoyable. I need to show this to other people. Like, if you haven't watched this, please go watch this. Obviously, this is a spoiler review, so every episode we go through, we kind of stick to the plot. We literally talk about every aspect of the show. So if you haven't watched it, please go watch it before you watch all these videos. I don't really feel like giving you guys a disclaimer every video because I feel like this gets kind of positive, or what the fuck did I try to say? It's kind of obvious at this